so much for joining us this evening, and welcome to the Center for Ethnic, Racial, and Religious Understanding's 4th Annual Innovation Exchange. I understand that some of you had something of an adventurous journey, both finding us at dinner and also finding this space. So thank you for bearing with us. This is one of 2 amazing black box spaces that we have here on the Queens College campus, and I wanted to say a little word about space and why I chose to have this here. So hopefully then you'll really be able to bear with me. So the work that goes on in a black box space is always innovative. It's always experimental and experiential. This is where a playwright or an actor or a dancer or a group of artists come if they're going to create something new. They come here to brainstorm, they come here to improvise, and eventually to make a new piece of art. And audiences, all of us, if we're lucky enough, are often invited into the space in order to catch glimpses of artistic processes that are in motion. We get a window onto something that isn't quite finished, that's still in an experimental or innovating stage. So to me, these spaces always feel very full of potential. They're extremely raw. They're ours to create, when we come together, it's ours to create really whatever we want to create together. They're full of potential, full of energy and excitement, and for creating something new. So tonight, all of you are the artists and the innovators and the architects who are going to shape what happens in this space. I think this is a perfect space for a highly motivated group of people to innovate together as we work on responses to one of our most pressing issues currently, which is the issue of climate change. I love that we're approaching this issue through a number of different lenses. So we'll start with a panel, we'll do a scientific kind of roundup, and then we'll start with a panel in which we'll look at it through interfaith and faith-based responses, but we'll be talking also about community responses, individual responses, political responses, the science of climate change, and so all of these things together will help to inform our conversation. Before I begin, there's 2 more things I need to do. First of all, I want to acknowledge the fact that we're having this event on Veterans Day. I want to acknowledge any veteran that is in the audience, and certainly all veterans of all foreign wars. I want to acknowledge and take a moment to thank you for your service if you are here in the audience. Thank you. And then turning to the events of the evening, I want to say that it truly took a village to put this together. I want to acknowledge Walter Ruby from the Foundation for Ethnic Understanding, and Dr. Imam Shamsi, who we'll be hearing from in a moment. So we are also part of the annual global, I'm going to say it wrong, it's not weekend, it's month, of twinning between Muslim and Jewish organizations. This event is also part of that. It's a month of programming that happens internationally, so that's very exciting. I want to thank Peggy Kurtz, who's with the Central Y of Queens, who basically has been at me to do an event like this, literally like ever since I've known her. So I'm very happy to finally be able to do it and to have Peggy here as our wonderful moderator. I want to thank all of our co-sponsors, and particularly our financial co-sponsors. John Vogelsang is the acting director of the Michael Harrington Center here at Queens College. I saw him around here somewhere, is the chairman of the board of the Center for Jewish Studies. He's another of our co-sponsors tonight. NIFERT for your incredible, get out the event initiative, and also for your incredibly innovative ideas, which we'll hear later. And then, of course, our administration members who are here, Vice President Keller, who's working on sustainable development. George Hendry, who's also Stephen Picard, who's one of our, who's a professor who will be speaking to us later. And finally, our own president of Queens College, Dr. Felix Matos Rodriguez, who to us here at Queens College is known more affectionately as Fellow. So he is graciously said that he will join us to offer some opening remarks and talk about what initiatives are already happening on campus.
So it's great and a delight to be here joining you, and I thank you for being here tonight, and thanks Sophia for helping me in acknowledging some of the key partners that have made these this event, this conversation, this dialogue, and this building block, hopefully for ongoing work possible. It's a topic that concerns all of us. It seems to be that there's not one day that goes by that we don't read something in the paper about either things that shouldn't be melting, and places where the weather is changing in different ways, and all kinds of reports about in whatever time frame this part of the world, this area is going to be above water, underwater, heated, cold, affected, and there's El Nino, La Nina, and all this, all these news that that have come our way, and they're connected also with the way in which we get information, which is much more rapid and immediate. So it's timely that we have an event like this and a conversation like this that allows us to build awareness, understanding, share information, share ideas, and do it also from multiple perspectives. Some of the components that are connected with climate change and with weather also have an impact on resources and things that are sometimes scarce and sometimes lead to conflict. So the more conversations, the more time to bring different perspectives to think about what we can do in the present and in the immediate future, the better. I'm delighted that here at Queens College we've been trying to do our part, and in this front we wear many, many hats. Obviously there is this intellectual space which is at the core of what the university needs to do, to sort of be convening expertise and talent and stakeholders and bringing them together and hoping that that advances knowledge, it advances understanding, it advances policy, it advances change. That's a key element of the work that we do here in the university, and we have many distinguished faculty members, particularly in our environmental studies department, but in other faculties who are engaged in that work. You're going to be hearing about one of our most distinguished faculty members, and great to have you here, and also one that has some of the best war stories about his work. So if you get him after the talk and just talk to him about adventures in doing research, he's a vault of great things and great anecdotes based on his adventures doing research around the world. But we also have the Barry Commoner Center conducting very important research. Some of the information that you get on the quality of the air that we breathe in many communities in New York City comes from the research that is being done, the work that's being done at the Barry Commoner Center. In the summer, when you get those alerts that the air is really muggy and unbreathable and that you should be wearing, have caution, the monitors for that are located on our campus, and we feed that information to the state. And on and on and on, and I think you all know, you put a university president in front of one mic or two mics, and I will talk you to death about the many great things that our faculty and our students are doing. Last year, a team of our students won a second prize in a competition by the EPA, in which they had to put together a project, and they worked with our faculty, and Dr. Henry was part of that team, and they designed a phenomenal roof to our parking deck, right? It's a photovoltaic roof. So when the water and the rain comes and the snow, it melts, and that water will be turned into electricity. And if we get it right, it will provide half of the electricity that we need to run our gym, right? In addition to that, it gives us another floor of parking, right, which is very important real estate on this campus. And the drainage of that water will be done in a way that's more efficient. That was designed by a team of our students and faculty working together. They won second prize, and now I have the lovely task to get $10 million to get it built, right? But that's my job. But again, so that's the kind of activity that is all around us here in Queens College. Vice President Keller and his team has been working very hard in making the campus a lot more green friendly, and we're in the Princeton's review as one of the sort of friendliest public university campus. Any new building that we get to build, we started with our domes in the summer, they need to be LEED certified, and we're very proud of that. We're building a number of rain gardens and just making the campus, not just the intellectual side, but also what we do as an institution, a lot more green friendly. So, you know, it's fitting that we're hosting this. This is probably a space in which we can use a lot more work, this space of coming together and connecting. So again, I commend all the parties that helped to put this together for, you know, giving it a perspective that many do not include in some of the conversations about climate change and the environment, sort of using the lens of faith to come at it, and acknowledging that there's a very rich tradition in many religions on taking care of the environment and what that means in terms of your own spirituality and your own centrality, and that it might be good for us to tap into those traditions as we think about moving forward. That is not just great research and information and all those things which are really important, but there is a longer set of traditions that are equally valuable and important, that we need to incorporate them, and hopefully in a way that helps us to get into action, into policy, into all those things. So again, I'm delighted that this is happening here at Queens. I think that you're in for a treat. I am not allowed to tell you about the symbolism of the two doors, right? Sophia has told me that I don't have security clearance to do that, but just know that everything here has a reason, and I'm really proud to be here, and enjoy the rest of the program. So back to you.
Well, thank you so much, Sophia, and you just did amazing work. Queens College did such a great thing in putting this together with us, and we're so grateful and proud. And so I wanted to extend very quickly greetings on behalf of the president of the Foundation for Ethnic Understanding, Rabbi Mark Schneier, who unfortunately couldn't be here, but really we wanted to make sure we got our point across that that the foundation, just very briefly, has been working since 2008 in the field of Muslim-Jewish relations, and we've working very closely with Imam Shamsi Ali, who you'll hear from in just a moment. And so this, we do this event around the world called the Season of Twinning, as Sophia mentioned, and we're having this year, I think about 50 events in almost 20 countries around the world, where we have Muslims and Jews, and in some cases Christians as well, all coming together and saying, we refuse to be enemies. That is the point of the Season of Twinning this year, and we have events in Paris and London and New York and Washington and LA and many other places, Toronto. So, but this particular event, I'm just really so thrilled to be part of, because I think what better way, first of all, for to come together and say we refuse to be enemies, and we're going to work together for the betterment of both of our communities and the larger community in which we live side by side, the larger New York community. And what better way to do that, really, than to stand together to save this planet? I mean, for Muslims, Jews, Christians, and others to come together, in this case Muslims, Jews, and Catholics, and to follow the brilliant leadership of Pope Francis. We just felt that it was very, very important for our two faiths communities also to get behind this effort in a serious way, and for the faith communities to lend a voice of conscience to this very, very important work. So I'm thrilled to be here, and thank you so much.
Good evening. I don't know what else to say after the President and Walter. Thank you very much. I'm delighted and highly honored to be here tonight. I'm Shamsi Ali. 2 days ago, I attended a conference at the United Nations in commemorating Kristallnacht. And I mentioned to our friends that I hope that this tragic event that happened many years back was supposedly not to unite us. But religions are supposedly to unite us before anything else. Tonight, again, we are united by this threat, the threat of climate change. And I hope that it's not the thing that unites us. Religions are supposedly to unite us, because religions are given to all of us to unite humanity. But unfortunately, we are living in this the world which is very full of paradoxes. This time is called the time of telecommunication, but I think miscommunication occurs on a daily basis. We are living in an era of information, but these misinformations occur on a daily basis. We are living in a so-called globalized world that the barriers between individuals, between nations are becoming minimized, yet deep ignorance happens from day to others in our minds. So I think the only way to heal this is to fight. And the only way to fight of this ignorance of one another is to build a sincere, honest dialogue. I still remember when I began this journey of particularly Jewish and Muslims dialogue several years ago, in 2005, end of 2005, if I'm not mistaken. And I was invited by my great friend, my best friend, Rabbi Max Schneier, to his synagogue. And I wanted to bring a group of Muslims to his synagogue. And a Muslim stood up. He was so engraved, he was so angrily saying to me, "Are you kidding us?" So I said to him, "What do you mean?" He said, "They will not open the door for us. These people consider themselves," and Rabbi, you're here, "consider themselves chosen." And in his understanding, chosenness means exclusiveness. They don't want to be friends with anybody. So I said to him, "Listen, if you may remember in the Holy Quran, it also says that we are the best nations. It's called kuntum khaira ummah. We are the khair ummah. What does it mean, the khair? You're the best. So let's the best meet the chosen. If the best and the chosen can be friends, you can imagine what kind of world we live in." So my friends, tonight we are here because we want to continue this dialogue. And dialogue is only the beginning of that journey. We must build understanding, respect, mutual compassion, partnership, even beyond just partnership. This is about fighting for one another. When someone is committing anti-Semitic in my community, it's not the Jewish responsibility to speak out. It's my responsibility. Likewise, when someone is talking about Islamophobia, it is the Jewish friends who is responsible to speak out against Islamophobia. And that is the type of fight that we have between the Jews and Muslims, and of course tonight with Catholic. And I would like to mention particularly the Catholics because basically Pope John II united me and Rabbi Max Schneier. When he died, I was and Mark Schneier invited by CBS television to an interview called Pope John's Outreach, an interfaith outreach. So he represented the Jews and I represented the Muslims. We met in the studio, we shook hands, but almost we didn't see each other. And the reason is because if you open my head at the time, so we'll have 1,000 questions about the Jewish people. And he didn't want to see my face. Later on, 6 months or 7 months, he called me and said, "Imam, I want to meet with you." So we met. And the first question I asked him, "Why you didn't want to see my face?" And he said to me, "To be honest with you, I didn't like Muslims." I didn't. Secondly, that I was not sure that you are really Muslim. Because in his mind, Muslims must be Middle Eastern people. And I'm not a Middle Eastern person. And then from there, we are laughing at each other, and we began this journey. And we are not back up. We are not going to back up anymore. We must continue this journey, no matter what circumstances surrounding it, but we must continue this journey, that Muslims, Jews, and Christians must continue the journey of the peace. Thank you very much.